Hello and welcome to a huge edition of Layback with Betfair. It is Caulfield Cup and the Everest weekend, of course, and there's plenty to unpack on today's show. We have races galore, and my name's Nick Foote. The two men that are going to be helping me dissect the form across this degustation of black type racing is none other than King Clancey and the Baron of Betfair, Tom Haylock. King, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. What is it? A smorgasbord that you normally tell us we've got, and that's exactly what we've got ahead. Looking forward to it.
Tommy, how did we fare last week?
Adelaide's are still going. They're still running. So I think we did all right.
Yeah.
A few winners.
Yeah, there's a couple in there. A couple of bests got home.
Correct. So I think we did all right. But I found Saturday very tricky. Pattern's going to be huge at Caulfield, and we'll talk about that in a second. So the way that the race shapes. But just found, and we're just talking about it, I found things hard to line up. Like I've gone looking for horses that maps a big query. And yeah, so it's a tricky day, but we'll see how we go.
Well, let's get into the lay-bin first, because there's just a few things we need to get off our chest before we keep the positivity flowing and find some winners for the Layback with Betfair family. We'll start with you, King Clancey. You look like you're getting a little bit political.
I don't like this. Don't like this at all.
Sometimes the best advice is to stay in your lane, but King Clancey drives in all lanes.
So Now, I'm going to go back to nostalgia, right? So nostalgia for me, 2011, you go back and I remember walking into a nice little pub tab. I had nothing. I was still studying at uni and I was loving life. And Atlantic Jewel just gets you excited for 1,000 Guineas meeting on that Wednesday. You're right smack bang in the middle of the Caulfield Carnival. And I remember that as being there's three crucial days. You got Guineas, probably one of the best on the entire schedule. Mm-hmm. Cup Day wasn't quite as good as I think it is now at the time. But that middle day, 1,000 Guineas, was sensational. I think we may have lost that a touch. And I will say the 1,000 Guineas and Sir Rupert Clarke after the Flemington Carnival now is nice. It's good fun. It extends everything. But I think it loses that whole Caulfield charm of the 3 days within the week. And I used to love going on that Wednesday as well. So I miss it. I would love to see that card re-bolstered again.
Would you have it on the midweek or on the Saturday?
No,
Wednesday?
No, I'd be happy to have it midweek still. Yeah. So you make those three really crucial days. And I used to love going on the Wednesday. Now, you look at what it was yesterday, and I've got no interest in going out to the track for that.
So. I would have thought you might have got your hand in some form of marquee or had a wristband on.
You would have.
Well, Wednesday's a busy day doing the form, Tom.
It is.
It's actually tough for form analysts that Wednesday because it's the forbidden fruit, the races, because you're like, geez, I could go.
I know.
I could have a couple of beers, but then you are just ruining the back end of your week. Yeah. So you just got to keep the powder dry for the good stuff.
We are professionals here at Layback.
It's a good call.
But it is almost a teaser because you got Flemington Carnival, which is a nightmare for form students. And we're doing shows. We've got cup shows, and the timing it's just a nightmare. But
you would have been really burning the midnight oil, wouldn't you, Tommy? If you were up last night after a day at the races.
Correct. Just on that, I like it. I think Sydney's impact and what they've done has deterred, and maybe that's had an impact on your feeling about the Caulfield Cup week, because the Caulfield meetings haven't been as strong because of Sydney's races and pop-up races and the Tap Craig or whatever it was and those type of races. But I hate when we finish Spring Carnival at the end of Champions Day, we've got Sandown, and then we fall off a cliff, and we've got, no offense to Cranbourne, but we've got benchmark 50s and benchmark 80s at Cranbourne, and it just feels like there's no other sport on. You've got a month there.
It's cold turkey, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 100% cold turkey. And I don't think racing capitalised on it because everyone's so interested in racing for that Cup week, and then suddenly they're not going to Cranbourne.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it from a fan perspective.
You're so busy over Flemington Cup week. You need a rest after.
You do.
It's prime golf trip territory. That's what it is.
That's all right.
I'm quite happy to just relax after that.
You can go golf trip and watch the 1,000 Guineas, mate.
Yeah.
Watch my filly win.
Tommy, what do you got for the lay-bin?
Well, so speaking of my filly, good segue, because she worked at Caulfield on Tuesday morning.
Lovely cut. She's in the Gothic Stakes. Reece Goodwin trains. He must be getting her in perfect condition.
Well,
today.
He took her to Caulfield, which is good to see, but he promised us coffee, and Kanga, there was no coffee.
Really?
No coffee's on course. There are a lot of owners
there. Did Kanga or Reece promise you coffee?
Reece did, but Kanga was swanning around, and I didn't see any. I was hoping putting Reece for promising coffees.
Yeah.
But Kanga also for no coffees for owners, and a lot of media people there. You got to just get a coffee stand open there. track work ahead of Caulfield Cup, surely.
It's a nice segue into my lay bin because Tom expects everything to just be given to him. And
I was gonna pay for the coffee.
here at the
Tom, I just bought you that coffee.
Here at the Betfair studios, it's hard to get a park around this neck of the woods. And every single week, I turn up earlier than Tom because I'm the consummate professional. And
I'm getting you coffee.
Tom is always 10 minutes late, but somehow gets this car park out front that is never available when anyone that gets here on time. So
reserved for Baron. They know what time I turn up.
He carries a witch's hat in the back of the car.
Yeah, exactly. So some people are just kissed.
Jealousy is a curse.
And that is you. All right, enough labin. Let's get into the racing. We've got so much to dissect, boys. We're going to start with Caulfield. We're basically going to go races 2 through to 10. We're really going to attack the Caulfield card. And then we've got some features at Randwick for Everest Day to also go through. Track talk. This is a labin in itself.
Don't bring it up.
Just the constant chat around track. I mean, I think we should have a cut-off time of Monday as an industry to stop talking about the track. By Tuesday, we just move on.
No, then you got to wait for the data guys to get their data and dissect it.
Of course, even Thursday, that, everyone's got 1,000 opinions. But what is it doing this week? How's it playing? Because the Bureau of Meteorology they've really stood for something and put the fork in the ground and said 0 to 20 mil.
Yeah, correct. So it's absolute garbage what they're doing now with the Bureau. So rail true last Saturday, 12 Wednesday, out 3 metres. It's a pretty common pattern for what they do. By Caulfield Cup, they're off fence. They come down the middle, you watch the replays. I expect it to be pretty similar. So I'm very wary. I do want to monitor. Early in the day, inside barriers could be okay, but I think it'll chop up. Very wary late the day drawing in. And that's kind of how I've approached the meeting. But there's some trepidation there from me from a form perspective because there's a couple of horses I like that drawn in that I'm worried. So it's a big wait and see. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, we got 1 to 10 today as a Thursday. We've got 4 to 20 Friday in terms of mil. But at least it doesn't look to be any rain on race day.
And that's the key, isn't it? Like we've seen this Caulfield track and probably not utilising Sandown enough through the winter months as well. Like we have seen that track cop, I think it was 4 meetings in a row where we had rain throughout the day and it just chopped up deluxe. So it is the key.
But people are whinge when it's fence off and they whinge when the fence is okay.
It's an outdoor sport. Well, let's just move on with it. But I do appreciate what you're saying with, I'm much the same as you. That inside, there's a couple I'm going to take on that have drawn inside a little bit later in the day. So let's hope at least we can get the track somewhat right today on layback. Let's start off with race 2. It's the listed Gothic Stakes for the 3-year-olds. Arkansas Kid won this race last year. Sandpaper in 22 and Extreme Flight in 2021. A few of these come through the Dane Hill, which looks the Premier Form reference. If that's the way you're heading, it's probably hard to see them finishing ahead of Reserve Bank and turning the tables. Is that sort of the way that you're assessing this one, Tommy?
Yeah, it's a fascinating race because a few of those through the Dane Hill were actually well backed, like Bitter Creek was 750 there, 11's into 750. Bodyguard was drifting, but they both come here with gear changes. So they were in the market, and we've got Bitter Creek gets tongue tie on and Bodyguard gets Winkers first time. So I found that race quite hard to dissect because a few horses failed or were pretty plain that were in the market, and I can see them improving considerably. And it's a straight race over 1,100 metres. Now they're going 1,200 Caulfield round the bend. Completely different setup. I found the race very hard because of that. Reserve Bank was the run of that race, no doubt. To Poland was good, hit the line really well. 1 from 1 at 1,200 metres. And I don't know what they do with Lofty Arch. Blinkers off now. Do they roll forward and lead again with the blinkers coming off? So there's a few horses through that with gear changes that concern me, and I found them hard to dissect. Pertin on Gallant Sun looks a good booking, drawn well. Stolly Bolly form ties in, obviously. Loses shin, Stolly Bolly rises 2 kilos. And then you got my filly and Reese's filly, Lovely Cut, who ties in through Stolly Bolly, actually, through Last Druid. They both kind of beat Last Druid by similar margins. And she's probably a big price, Lovely Cut, but she'll need the run, in my opinion. She'll be looking for further and need the run where a few of these are race fit. So I found it very hard.
Shouldering arms, Tommy, Clance?
Very similar. I think Gallant Sun probably can sit a bit closer, which is a massive positive there. I actually did think Lovely Cut was a massive price. That rating at Sandown ties in within a length of the Danehill Stakes. So if it can run to that level, which it sounds like might need the run, but if it can produce that level, $31 is a big price, but no bet for me.
I agree. I'll have something on it just for sake, but I would have had a high teens.
I'm showing my hand early. I own this one of the best bets of the day.
Ooh.
Nice and early in the card, number 7, Gallant Sun. Was with him last start. He had to absorb that strong tempo, which that was the race Stolly Bolly won.
Yep.
Had conditions to suit, race conditions to suit. They went 6.9 lengths inside benchmark to the 600, which really set up for Stolly Bolly to finish over the top. Second up here, nice draw, huge change, Zach Purton going on. I think he can settle closer and be ridden appropriately in this race. I've got a high opinion of Gallant Sun. Bodyguard was one I was with in the Danehill. I just don't think handles any soft to wet going. So I'd be shouldering arms and waiting for Bodyguard another day as well. But Gallant Sun, one of the better bets on the program for me in race number 2. Let's move on to race 3 now. It's the Group 3 Blue Army Classic for the 3-year-olds. Set weights 2,000 metres. There's a few here that are heading towards the Derby. It's a genuine lead-up race for that Vic Derby. Sunsets upset Riff Rocket last year. Riff Rocket was $1.28 and Sunsets beat home Riff Rocket and Gates. We expecting a big boil over this year. The superimposed form looks pretty good for this, Tommy.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I did go looking because there's 2 main form lines, obviously the superimposed with Red Aces and Keeneland. I've lent the way of Red Aces over Keeneland. Just I think there's more fitness to come with Red Aces. Meets half a kilo better, which isn't much, but at over 2,000 metres when you're a 3-year-old, it might make a bit of difference. Scary price was well supported in that, was $3.90 as well.
It's not a scary price. That's Scary's price.
That's Scary's price and a scary price if you're doing the form. So it was respected in that market as well. It does look the right lead up. The race rated well, but they all are tied to the hip. So I did kind of go looking for some others. West Indies, I think he's an outsider in the race. He was in a benchmark race at Hawkesbury today, Thursday, that's come out, so he could run here. Could well be the leader and could well give a sight, but not a race I'm too keen on. If I'm leaning to anything, it will be Red Aces, as I think he's got more upside.
What about you, Clance?
Nah, these 2,000 metre contests where there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of speed in the race, they can just get messy and depends on how they all run. Keeneland, the last 50 was most impressive for me. I think was going away from the rest of them again. I think justifies favourite, but not keen to play.
Yeah, I found them hard to split Red Aces and Keeneland as well. I think Red Aces, there's more improvement to come, just given the stage of the preparation. But just shouldering arms for now. I'll be in the members probably, or perhaps a marquee on Saturday. I might just open the shoulders come race 3 because that's what we do at the track.
What marquee will you be in?
I've got a few balls up in the air at the moment. So we'll
one of those people at the music festivals that have about 5 different wristbands hanging off them.
I've still got my Falls Festival wristband on from 2007 actually. Yeah, so refuse to ever take that off. Yeah, that was my first one. I was 12, I promise. Let's go to we'll flick over the ethereal again, another challenging race, and we'll spend some time on race 5, which is the listed Alinghi Stakes for the fillies and mares over 1,100 metres. Lem Picker beat home Hypothetical and Vivian last year. One of the members of the panel here found Lem Picker at $21. Do you remember who that was?
No. I know it was you, mate.
It's good for the quaddie too, might I add. Tommy.
Well done.
No, we got I think that's the last time I had a $20 winner, so 12 months to the day. Tommy, what do you like?
Lem Picker can win again. What are your thoughts on Lem Picker?
Lem Picker has the figures, doesn't she? She's the blowout chance and has figures to win over here. She's not going as good as what she was. Like she had that run, I think it was at Mornington leading into the race last year. That was very nice. She hasn't had that sort of platform into it this year.
But second up last campaign, she ran 14th to 15. It was the Oakley Plate. She ran a poor one in the Oakley Plate and then came out and won this race won second up last campaign, off a plain first up run. I know it was an Oakley Plate, but follows that similar pattern here. And the race shapes up for her in terms of speed. There's a lot of speed. Penthouse, Chinny Boom, Expressiveness. Passagiata has speed. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think she and Gumdrops are the 2 at value that I'll be including.
What do you make of Chinny Boom? Because she's obviously come here from the Taylor camp, the Rockhampton Rocket. She's run some big figures in Queensland, and the money came for her first up here, first run for the Moody Coleman camp, and she was disappointing.
She was. It was a plant. I've spoken about this race a few times now. That was a weird race that Jimmy Starr run. Like Ashford Street looked home. Jimmy Starr was 300s. There was a break up in the field. They didn't go overly fast. So I don't know what to make of that race a lot. We saw Jimmy Starr come through it and run superbly. But it does look a battle in the market between Isthmus and Neos. I've lent the way of Neonce here first up. Kurianagi form through the trial and jump out was superb. I love the way Neonce went there. Draws 3. I think can settle outside. Isthmus and barrier 1 concerns me massively with Isthmus. We'll get a guide to how the track's playing prior to race 5, but you could end up, and I know you're with Isthmus, but you could end up going to race 5 and say, looks hard to win from gate 1. So I think Neon settles outside Isthmus. They get the card into the race. If the fence is fine, Isthmus needs luck, and if the fence is off, then you're in a world of pain as well. So I've lent the way of Neon's nice horse on the way up. What's your thoughts?
I'm with Isthmus. I think she's the progressive one. Nice horse on the way up. Could be the best out of this race. But I totally agree with you about barrier 1. Very concerning, and I'm making her a bet here, but conditions pending. So if the inside's completely off and it's not where you want to be, there is a bit of speed around. So maybe I'm just being real glass half full here to tuck in behind the speed and perhaps get off the fence at some stage if the speed goes ahead. And a lot will depend on, is it Passaggiata who missed the kick, I think, last start as well? So a lot's going to depend on those horses that are jumping cleanly because there is a bit of speed in the race. But I'm going to monitor.
Would you rather the fence be off or okay here from 1? You're in the coffin if they stick hard to the fence. If the fence is off, she'll get a run. Or Isthmus will get a run. As in, and you often find they overplay and you just slip in through the inside there. I don't know. It's an interesting.
I'd rather the fence be on if I'm backing her here and not cheer against sort of bad luck more than anything, and just hope that I'm with the best horse than be going through the inferior going when you turn for home and looking for the best lane. What about you, Clance?
I think you've nailed the 2 progressive mares, but they're well found in the market for me. Penthouse, if I was going to have a bet, has tried up nicely and we're getting $26 to find out, and has prior ratings that challenge both Isthmus and Neonce as well. So if I was playing, it'll be Penthouse, but absolutely keen to stay out of this one.
Let's head to race number 6 now, boys. The Group 2000 Guineas Prelude. Set weights and penalties, 1,400 metres. Coevalente won this race last year with one of the great Blake Shin rides from barrier 14. Show that at apprentice school, beating home Vivier and Zurion. This is a challenging little race to assess. Everyone's sort of got some form tied through each other here. I reckon there's a pretty good form reference, which you might touch on shortly, that dates back to sort of the back part of winter. What are your thoughts here, Tommy?
I'll start with you here, Len.
I think, well, Tudor Lizzie looks to get the perfect lead from barrier 1. I think that's your first stop. To be or not to be, comes across and sits just outside her as well. I've got 2 marked really, really short compared to the market, and they come through the Scarborough Stakes that a lot of these horses do. And as Footy have touched on, they've had the strong form for quite some time now. Bellatrix Star and GG Smith Truth, obviously a joint at the hip there, and went to the Scarborough Stakes and both went really nicely. You've got the ones that were back in the field on that Scarborough, which was the likes of Matisse, Another Prophet, Benegil, In Her Eyes even went through the line nicely. But of those who actually went through the line the best was Zaitung. So I'm going to stick with Zaitung out to the 1,400 here. And we're getting 750 there. Best horse in the race for mine is GG's Miss Truth. I've got marked around the 350 mark. We're getting $5 now. I think they're both great bets. If they happen to be running on and there's advantage to run on, I'll be doubling my bet. But even if they don't, I think a fair track has them both really good bets.
Where does GG's get to in the run from 13? Midfield, 3 deep?
I think you probably take a bit of your medicine and you're closer to the rear.
That's my concern.
But that doesn't bother me too much in this race where there's a few of those, but then there's a couple up the front who are actually going to set a reasonable tempo as well. So a fair track is all I'm asking for.
Yeah, 13, that barrier at the 1,400 metre Caulfield start's always a little bit of concern, but I feel it's somewhat offset by the fact that she's getting to 1,400. She looks the one that's desperate to get to 1,400, as does Zaitung as well, finishing off really strongly in that Scarborough. I think you look back as far as the Quizette, where GG's Miss Truth ran second in that race. That's been a hot form reference. You've got Bellatrix Star, who was in behind her that day, Kurianagi, who was in behind, so there's subsequent winners. And Bellatrix Star, well, hasn't she just gone to another level? You should obviously, as I said, need some luck from 13. But all things being fair, getting a good run in transit, stepping to 1,400, I think she's going to be the hardest to beat.
Was she unlucky last start? Watching it live, I thought she was, and I backed her and was cheering for her. But doing the replays, I thought she had a decent enough run in behind her. She wasn't held up for long. If she
GG.
was, yeah.
I think she's gone big. I think she went really well.
She was a great run.
She just ran into an absolute star on the rise.
Yep.
And Bella just didn't give GG's Miss Truth any chance to get into the race before she was off and gone.
We saw Bellatrix Star win impressively last Saturday. So the form through that race is good, as you mentioned, Liam. 7 through the Scarborough. Z-Tongue, I backed Matisse in that as well. I thought Matisse was fantastic, and then Z-Tongue was also very, very good. I found them hard to read up to 14 because Z-Tongue and Matisse look suited by 14 as well.
Yep.
Matisse has got much more upside second up now as opposed to a couple of the others. I found them hard to get a gauge on which way I'd lean, and I've ended up with Amina here. They actually beaten Z-Tongue in a Furious Stakes back in September. They ran second and fourth respectively, so that line ties Amina in as well. Amina's also beaten To Be or Not To Be, ties in again through the Scarborough. Last start, she just had no luck whatsoever. The race shape was against her completely. They've gone 13.4 lengths slower than benchmark to the 600. She ran some incredible sectionals. She finished 7th, but she's run second fastest race splits, 6, 4 and 2. She ran 11.08 home, final 200 metres, Amina. She couldn't do any more. And the way the track played, it was the day that Fangirl was the only horse to come back and wide the whole day. That's where she was. Complete forgive. I was hoping the market missed her a little bit. She's $5 or something. Off that run, I was hoping she was $7 or $8. But I think she ties in favourably, and I'm with her, Amina.
Barrier 12.
Yeah, that's the query.
Yeah. Let's move on to race 7, which is the Group 2 Millennium Sprint Handicap. It's 1,000 metres. Dual won this race last year as Fora in 2022 and Oxley Road in 2021. There's a stack of speed in this race, Clans. Horses with inside barriers may be disadvantaged, which we've sort of already prefaced so far in the preview.
Geez, Dual, just last leg of the early quaddie last year, wasn't it? A little
She was an early quaddie player.
Absolutely, especially these big days, of course.
I could honestly say this is layback confessions. I don't reckon I've ever put on an early quaddie.
I reckon I did when they first came out.
Like I'm too
about 4
unorganised to even get to put on the main quaddie.
You're at a function.
Yeah.
Your breakfast.
Well, boys, you're missing out. It's one of the great treats of life.
You get let down twice.
Yeah,
yeah, awesome. You
get 6 legs of 8 in the quaddie.
Go on, Clans.
Now, so this is an absolute cracking race here. Like handicap conditions for a sprint like this is so interesting. Like Estriella, under set weights or at a weight for age contest would be really well suited here. But it brings it right back to the group. And as you say, we've got the charge of the light brigade with Estriella, Katsu, Way to the Stars, Scuderia, all going to want to go forward. And Indian Pacific probably would if they weren't all there as well. So there's a stack of pace. I don't know if we can start being so harsh about these inside draws yet. I mean, we can think about it, but Estriella, I'm sure they'd be happy to draw 1 compared to 10.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
So and you don't want to be sitting 4 wide with plenty of speed in the race. So I don't think that's necessarily that bad, but I think it does set up for the lower weighted horses of Ray Magnerio and Midtown Boss here. I think Ray Magnerio, we touched on the race already, but that Jimmy Star race, Ray Magnerio ran home every bit as good as Jimmy Star, and we saw what Jimmy came out and did on Guineas Day last week as well. So that's well and truly been franked. I think Ray Magnerio is a one to find here. I just can't quite get it as sure as $4 in the market, but if we get much bigger than that on the day and they're running on, I'll be keen to play.
Is it too sharp for Ray Magnerio? Like, I like Ray Magnerio. He's a good horse, but 1,000 metres is just too sharp for him.
That's the query, for sure. Hopefully they're tiring late, 53 kilos. They can get over the top of them. I'm with Ray Magnerio as well for the same reasons. It's just a very good horse. He hasn't won a race for 4 starts, which is unlike him, considering he was 6 from 9 before that. But I just think he's a good horse. His run, like you said, Liam, that run behind Jimmy Star was incredible. Second fastest final 200 metres of the day. Jimmy Star's, we saw what he did last Saturday. So I'm with him on top. I'm not that confident. I was laughing because you've drawn wide on Estriella in 2 races and real sticky around the valley, and then you come here and draw inside, but the fence might be off. Like, you'd be filthy if you were Estriella owner.
I'm against you blokes. So I think 1,000 metre races for 1,000 metre horses, and that's how I'm attacking this. So
not a bad theory.
Katsu, first up, 1,000 metre specialist. This race just looks made for him. Will bounce straight to the top. likely be off rails. Estriella to his inside. His jump out of the heath was very good. I know you being a trial perv, you would have thought it was good work, Tommy. Crossing the line with Houdez and Mornington Glory. And the others, Sans Dude. Don't want it too wet for her, but in the 6 range, at worst, if that's where the track's going to get to, she's going to have the speed on because there's a lot of speed there. She's drawn out. She'll be able to show a big finish. She's never missed the money at 1,000 metres. And that's backed up with some high rating performance with those two. So Sans Dude, Katsu, they're both at sort of $7.58. I'm going to stake them for the same result. 1,000-metre horses for 1,000-metre races.
Just on Ravenera before Liam gets to his lay, one start over 1,000. I know it was at sale, but trounced him there. That was 1,000. She hasn't run. He hasn't run over 1,000 since then. So he's had one start at it. You potting him based on that because all your good sprint races are over 11 and 12.
No, it's a good
not
call.
Not many over 1,000. So there's no proof that he doesn't get the 1,000.
But the ones that I'm with, there is proof that they are
do.
1,000-metre horses. So I'd rather have the safety in that data and those numbers. And I think Ray Magnero is going to be strong at the end of 1,000. And as you said, he has ticked off that 1,000 at sale. But no, Katsu and I'm also going to make Estriella a lay.
Ooh,
yeah.
This is
This is a hamburger. I forgot to bring up the graphic. I didn't know what to do there. I'm just taking a set against her at the price as well. She went up. She's obviously gone up. What? $3.50, 360. Yep. So she's not going well.
I was going to say, how's she going?
She's not going well. So you can draw one, which I think is going to be a disadvantage. And this is, you got to put your money where your mouth is that when you do a show on a Thursday. But she's been underwhelming this prep. She was jumping out as good as any horse in Victoria before kicking off her campaign in the Moya. This is an easy race, but there's a couple of marks against her for the price. So I'm going to have a hamburger back in Katsu Sandsdoot laying Estriella. Let's go.
I'm sort of with Footy in that as well. I think 360 to lay is the shortest lay you can get, but Way to the Stars is the one that I'm going to be taking on the place, which is about 320 to lay at the moment. I think that horse is being priced off that Concord third behind IME and Bella Nicotina, where that inside and up was such a good place to be that day up at Randwick. Whereas now going to be sitting 4 wide on the speed over the 1,000 metres. I think it just sets up horribly. So happy to lay that the 320.
Let's kick on to race number 8 now, boys, which is the Group 2 Tristarc Stakes for the mares. Set weights, penalties, 1,400 metres. Road to Arataki won last year, Chain of Lightning in 2022, and Colette in 2021. Must have been wet in 2021. Colette, she was a good wet tracker, wasn't she? This is a good race. Another one with plenty of value, plenty of different angles. Clancey, is it a race that you're keen to have a bet in?
Yeah, I think it's a great each way play here that I'll get to shortly, but plenty of pace again from out wide. I think Road to Arataki will try and do the same thing as last year. Plenty of ammo. Jesus is going so well and should have been really close to winning last start. Had it got out earlier. You got Running By, Tis Invincible, and Perfect, who all like to go forward from their wide draw. So I think there's going to be plenty of pace injected into the race. And I'm keen to focus on one who is just a really consistent galloper in Miss Aria. Is going so well. Getting $8.50 now. So it's an each way play because I love the consistency of this horse. Had to go back last start and has had to go back a bit recently from poor draws and finally draws in 5 here. So it doesn't have to get as far back. So really keen to be with this horse who just consistently finds great ratings. And I think not only is a great winning chance, but I think if you're playing each way, I don't think you're going to miss a drum at $293. So it's a good spot there.
Yep. Tommy, what about yourself? You're sort of eyeing off some solid winning form in this race?
Yeah, I read the race a little bit differently to Liam in terms of the speed. I don't think these horses that Liam's got mapped forward are actually that quick. Even Road to Arataki, when leading throughout this race last year, I think went very slowly. They settle close, but there's no out and out speedster, no out and out leader. I know a couple of them draw wide. That's my biggest concern. You got Skybird, who's also in Sydney, but I think runs here because Bo Mertens is engaged in Sydney and he's riding here. So
He's engaged in both.
Yeah, but
Sydney
he's
and
riding
Melbourne.
in Melbourne
Yeah,
because
right.
he's riding
You don't
Lovely
think
Cup.
you don't think they'll attack the Silver Eagle?
I think I would if I was them. But
Yeah.
I just found it interesting that Bo Mertens is engaged there because he's definitely staying, unless he's flying to Sydney between race 2 and race 8. I don't
He's
know
the
if he's
kind
got
of
any other-
operator that would just have his own private plane, Bo Mertens.
Oh yeah. So he's definitely riding Lovely Cut in the second at Caulfield. I can tell you that.
Okay.
So, so I found it. I was very hesitant to back Miss Aria and Skybird. I think they're great horses and got great chances, but their back marker's drawn inside relatively. Like Skybird might be last the fence. Miss Aria might be outside her off a speed that I often find in these 1400 metre mares races like this, they just lob in their positions. Nothing really changes, and it is quite hard to make ground. So I found it very tricky. Revolutionary Miss had really nice runs in trends that last couple, won well last start. Form around's pretty good. I've lent the way of Quintessa here. She's just penned that last run, and she's a class horse. She's carrying the top weight, but she's got the highest handicap rating. Zach Purton on board. If she returns to her form, she's a major play here at each way. So she was $6 or $5 in a Group 2 Let's Elope last start. This is easier than that. So, yeah, I've lent the way of her. Not a race I'm that confident about, though.
I'm quite confident.
That's good.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm really liking this slightly raced mare for Simon Wild. Plenty of ammo.
Mm-hmm.
6 starts, 4 wins. The stable took her to a stakes race, first up at Flemington, which, yes, was won by Uncle Bryn, but she was back towards the inside, tightened for room, held up for momentum. She would have been in the finish.
I think she would have won.
If she was clear. I got a really high opinion of her. Simon Wild's an astute trainer. When he lines one up and brings one to town or targets one in a stakes race, they stand out. And he's done this in the past with plenty of these mares. Your Cirileo Misses, your Wishlaw Lasses, plenty of ammo. Is definitely one on the way up. Drawn out, speed to her outside. I expected to keep the likes of Running By and Perfect posted in those early stages, and Harry Coffey to find a spot somewhere near the speed. So she'll put herself into the race. She's got the ability and she's on the up. So plenty of ammo for me. One of my more confident bets of the afternoon.
What do you make of the market first up? She drifted there. There's a bit more money early. Does that tell you that that wasn't the aim and there's more to come? I was surprised to see her 1400 metres first up, and then sticking to 1400 metres second up.
Well, I think it's a positive. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen, if it was the mile, there would have been a lot more confidence. But I think when you outrun your market expectation and there is a drift late, that only gives me confidence when you go into your second start. So go plenty of ammo. Good luck though, guys.
Tough race.
Yeah. Tough race, but one of us got the winner, I'm sure of it. Race 9, the feature of the day. The Caulfield Cup, the Group 1 Caulfield Cup, 2,400 metres. Tommy, without a fight, won last year, who just been all over. Durston in 2022 and Incentivise in 2021.
Still filthy, I tip, without a fight to win the Cox Plate about 6 when it won around Queensland.
Yeah.
On SEN, and then comes out, wins the Caulfield and the Melbourne Cup, and go to the Cox.
Yeah,
just another losing.
It's just another way to be wrong. Yeah. That's all that is. Yeah. It looks like there'll be some good tempo early with influences drawn out. And it looks like it's going to be a truly run cup. Elias, Deny Knowledge, along with Duke de Sessa, some of your clear speed influences there, Clance?
Yeah, I mean, I think Deny Knowledge will take up the running. Duke de Sessa drawn really nicely, probably lobs in just behind there. Elias, horrible draw out in 21, all from the widest barrier. You'd imagine they'll try and push forward and sit outside the lead, and being such a decent stayer, I think that has to be the way they play without much of a turn.
Who have you got leading?
Deny Knowledge.
Deny Knowledge again.
Yep. Yeah, for
Doesn't
sure.
Deny Knowledge winning last week just add some serious spice into this race? It's now we know it's a genuinely run. It's a Caulfield Cup, but Deny Knowledge in, right down in the weights, knows one way. It's pretty exciting.
I love it, yeah.
And they would have also just never thought that they'd be here as well before the Might and Power. Now they've won that. They've said, you know what, Grafton Cup was 50 metres short of the 2,400 metre trip. We're probably confident we can stay now. I think there'll be a regression off that for sure.
6.5 kilos, and there's only 2 horses who drop that weight off Caulfield Stakes, and they've both placed.
Do you think Deny Knowledge would be placing?
She can. I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked.
I'd be pretty shocked.
Got
Just
that,
for
Tom.
mine.
No, that's fair.
Look, I think of those in the market, Buckaroo looks to get the great run from Barrier 8. But no surprise, they've got the Turnbull and the Metropolitan form coming to the fore here. The run of Zardozi was exceptional in the Metrop. Sort of got caught 3 wide for a lot of that backstage of the trip, and then copped a couple of knocks down the straight, as is well documented from Land Legend as well. But obviously cleared out. I think at the 850 we're still getting now on the exchange Zardozi. I think she's a horse that I want to be with. And the other one is a bit left field, is Muramasa. We're getting $29 there. I'm going to have something small on that horse. A very bizarre lead up to a Caulfield Cup.
Didn't even know it was in the race.
Yeah, and before I started doing the form, neither did I. It was 1,500 to 1,800 up to a Caulfield Cup now. Interestingly, he did a similar last spring when winning the Coonji and then the Vic Queen Elizabeth. So that was jumping 2,000 to 2,600 metres at the time. So at least there's a little bit of a precedent there. And the ratings that he ran to win both of those races put him right in there. So I've got him marked $11. We're getting $26, $27. So in a race where there's plenty of chances, I'll be playing Zardozi and Muramasa.
What do you make of Andrea Azzini, Liam?
Don't know enough about to make any
Italian
drastic
jockey, rides Z-tongue in the 1,000 Guineas Prelude earlier in the day. Godolphin got him over. I
loved his stuff on Circle of Fire in the Sydney
say,
Cup when he sat 4 wide and still was just on the best stayer.
Yeah, well, I just don't like backing these jockeys in our big races.
Well, this is the problem with the compressed weights this year. When you're
and
losing, and you're losing these quality jocks that can't ride under sort of 54, 55 kilos. So,
hence is riding in 2 states.
Hence the flight from Hong Kong was full as a gourd.
It would have been.
Yeah,
would have been. I went looking for Zardozi as well through the Metrop. I like that race. I like Land Legend. Always had a big opinion of him. I love the jockey booking of Land Legend. Concedes Zardozi was just as good.
You tipped him for the Cups double last week.
I did in one of our
functions.
Our functions. I did. I think he can win Land Legend, and I think Zardozi's a major player as well. So I think that's the right form. But Buckaroo's clearly the one through the Turnbull. So I think one of those 3. But I found it a very tough race, to be fair.
Turns into Land Legend. One is an absolute disaster.
That hurt me
as well.
Correct.
But think of the Buckaroo Land Legend battle of Morera Purton. They're just such competitive beasts when it comes to racing each other, for sure. So what are you doing from a betting wise, Tommy?
I'm going to say I'm not betting, but I will be betting. That would be a lie. But on Thursday at 11:30, I am taking Zardozi and Land Legends, saving Buckaroo maybe.
That's as
Zardozi started
that's as tepid as I've ever heard in my life.
Zardozi started 225 against
It's not a
Buckaroo.
benchmark 70. It's the Caulfield Cup. Have an opinion.
They pay the same, mate.
They
pay the same.
I'd rather the second and third favourites and saved on the
Thanks
favourites.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is Layback with Betfair.
I'm laying back.
Yeah. This is Layback.
I don't like the race very much.
Yes. I'm backing Elias. I'm keen regardless of the draw. Tim Clark is 3 from 3 aboard and will be positive early. Doesn't have to lead. I think he will press to lead because you won't want to be out on a limb.
He'll be rolling forward.
Proven on all surfaces.
Could even end up behind Deny Knowledge. If she gets a suck run behind. You just don't know.
It's interesting with this first run at 2,400. This is the bit that just doesn't probably sit the best with me.
Yes.
Is generally speaking, you want to have a run at the trip.
Kept at 2,003 runs in Australia.
It's as good a grounding as you'll get with the. I think it's more than 3 runs at the 2,000. Four runs at 2,000, which is good a grounding as you're likely to see. But I think the last horse to win a Caulfield Cup without running the 2,400 was Faulkner. So
it was a nice horse on that.
Yeah, so it's hard to do, but Elias, I think, has a good platform to overcome history in this respect. So I love that they took Elias to Flemington and had a look around the Melbourne way of going. That's a huge tick, shouldn't be underestimated. He's absolutely primed for this.
It was good in the Turnbull.
Yeah, loved listening to Gay's interview on RSN earlier this week, just getting some speed in the legs and very happy with the gallop. It's just, I'm pushing Elias. But if it rains as well, I'm not going to let Warmonger go around without having a few dollars on because he's the genuine stayer. I think the 3,200, the Melbourne Cup, is going to be his better aim now. But if the rain comes and with these ambiguous weather forecasts, like who knows what the track will be doing. If by Caulfield Cup we're on a badder side of like a soft 6-7, you'd be mad not to have Warmonger in your numbers or have something on him, because he'll stay the trip and he gets through the slot.
So that was my question with Elias. Clear 2,400 query off a fast tempo now that deny knowledge in the race. That's my concern. Is it a concern for Buckaroo? I know it's a different horse now. He's been gelded, but he's yet to win or prove himself at this trip too. And that's the little query for mine.
Has to be. The two at the top of the market are really yet to be.
And it might be the really solidly run 2,400 metres now. So
yeah, I don't know how Elias turns the tables on Buckaroo from that turnbull. That was pretty nice.
Yep.
Going through the line as well, and it appeared as if Elias had almost had enough by that stage. I'm never going to deny Gay. She's a star, and Adrian as well, but no, not for mine.
So any other key runners we need to touch on?
Zardozi started 225 against Buckaroo 3 starts ago.
Yeah.
So you've got a line there. I know Buckaroo came out and since being gelded, it looks a different horse, but
yeah, I think you put a line through that. It's just a different horse.
I'm putting a big watch on Circle of Fire through the line.
Yep.
Into the Melbourne Cup.
So
I'm not backing Circle of Fire in the Caulfield Cup, but it's a huge watch because I've backed him in the Melbourne Cup at 26s, and I think he's going to be primed for that race.
I think I've talked myself into Zardozi. I just wish Andrea wasn't on.
It's taken us 5 minutes, Clance, but we've got Tom off the picket fence, and he's having an opinion on the Group 1 Caulfield Cup. Happy, Tom? Ready to move on?
Always.
Yep, perfect. Let's go to race 10, the Group 3 Moonga Stakes. Set weights penalties, 4-year-olds and upwards, 1,400 metres. Buffalo Rivers won two of the past 3 editions of this race. Lob's here again. He's a walking 1,400 metre Caulfield horse, really, isn't he? Just Buffalo River. I don't think he's going as well.
Yeah, he's struggling. Isn't he?
He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Send him around again, though. Yeah. It's not a bad way to close out the day. It's another competitive affair. I've got a bit of a view that I'm going to be up a stack in this race. And when you're up a stack, you turn to your old heads to close the day out.
The old heads.
And I'm closing the day out with Gentleman Roy, because there's no older head or more reliable head in racing
Buffalo
than GR.
River. He's older.
Yeah, well, he's older, but he's not as reliable. I reckon he goes straight to the top. He's tough as old boots. We'll fight all the way through the line. He's been kept up to the mark after third in the Memsey, 2 trials, ridden out through. He just loves racing. So I'm going to back Gentleman Roy in the last. How are you blokes going to play it?
I went to Officeworks this morning and bought rubber bands for my wads of cash for Saturday. Keep them in
What
my
are you just withdrawing
that up?
That's for all the bets he's not having and just must be withdrawing from the ATM. Taking out of his
savings on 18 horses in the Caulfield Cup.
Gamble responsibly. This is a hamburger race, this one. Laying War Machine, backing Pinstripes, could save Gentleman Roy. I think War Machine's the weak link in the market.
Ooh.
Hasn't run the ratings through his career to warrant being favourite in this, carrying 58 kilos. Fitter for his first up run, goes from benchmark 84 to a Group 3, though, rising 1 kilo. We've got Pinstripe, who won a Group 1 Memsey 2 starts ago. So how is Pinstripe not ahead of War Machine in betting off one bad run where it was lame? I can't get my head around that. So
put a little bit of an alert on. Since we started recording, War Machine out, going to Sydney.
Can't win.
So you're right.
Well,
That's the best winner of the day.
He'll try and pop that in his lay streak and claim it too. I reckon.
I'm going to return my rubber bands. Flat. Pinstriped on top
he finally hopped off the fence and you've just put an absolute
I've been waiting
cushioned him
45 minutes for that. Stuff you.
Clance?
Yeah, I think that actually helps Gentleman Roy, funnily enough, a bit less pace. Doesn't mean Globe gets into the field probably at this stage. I'm going a little bit of a different one. I'm playing Aegon here. This horse split
I've fallen into this horse many times.
Yeah, but we're getting the price to find out for this. He split Le Creek and Desert Lightning in a Group 1 on a soft track over the mile in New Zealand back in February. Came to Melbourne, had a nice trial. Should have won the PB Lawrence that day if had any sort of luck when coming through the field. So I'm going to forgive the failure in the Memsey since. Has been back to the trials, trialled reasonably well. So at that $13 mark, I'm going to have to play this horse and try and go out with a bang on Caulfield Cup Day.
I don't mind that. That's good stuff. Hey, before we head to Royal Randwick, we got any Betfair, cashback seconds. Anything to plug here, Tommy?
Full card, full cashback seconds at Caulfield on Saturday, which will be good. Lots happening. We've got some updates to our app as well next week, which is really good. Following tipsters, so your mug will be up on the app. You can follow you when you send your tips in next. So you can follow yourself, mate.
What sort of
get alert notifications when you tip something?
Did we use the professional photography shots that I sent through to the digital team?
Yeah, probably.
Was the one where you're sitting on the couch?
Yes, or are we rocking the sort of selfie?
Whatever you want, mate. We can organise whatever you want.
Look,
but
all right. Keep that in mind.
Follow Nick Foot if you want his tips, and when they come into the app, you'll get notified.
I was at Champion Stakes Day last year, and I was in the birdcage at the time, Tommy. That has no relevance to the story. I just wanted to throw that in there.
And that was before you were famous.
A punter came up to me and said, with the Betfair app, and said, "I've been following you all day. You're going shit house."
I remember you. I was wrapped. The story.
I was wrapped, and then I was just in the gutter. And
that's like my hamburger.
It was a tough day at the office.
When you get those people, did you reckon they don't realise you're having a bad day at that point?
Yeah, that's the worst thing.
You've got no cash left.
That's the worst thing when your mates be like, "You haven't tipped a winner." I'm like, "I'm fully aware. My bank account's
I can guarantee you, I'm feeling it more than you."
Yeah, correct.
Like, no, in no way, shape, or form are you feeling this more than me because my cash is low and my ego is non-existent.
Yeah, and we put the work in to provide these tips.
I've literally wasted 10 to 12 hours of my life.
Correct.
So happy days.
Correct.
Thanks for pointing it out. Let's go to.
At least he follows it. Do you still follow it?
Probably not. Let's go to Royal Randwick now. We're going to preview some of the feature races there, and of course, headlined by the Group 1 Everest, which is race number 7. Before we get to these races, Tommy, track conditions. What can we expect? Bit of rain about in Sydney, no doubt, as well?
Yeah, rain's similar to Melbourne, actually. Rain Friday, okay Saturday, which is good. I think soft 5 at the moment. I think it'll be a pretty fair surface. Always hard to lead at Randwick with the rail in true, so just keep an eye on that. Just the sting out, it'll be a nice racing surface.
Let's kick off in race 4, which is the James Squires ANGST Stakes. Shout out to the Jimmy Squires and the boys. 1,600 metres. Renaissance Woman won this race last year for Bjorn Baker. What are we doing?
I can't believe I'm saying this, and Liam and I were talking half an hour ago off air about how ill we felt.
You guys are sick. I'm just looking at the run sheet now, and you're sick.
We are. I feel ill. I've got a temperature. Backing hinged. Hasn't won since Feb 2022, and that was on a heavy 10. But go back 2 starts ago. Beat Orba, Buckaroo, incredible in the Chelmsford. So she's up against midway horses here. This is the weakest race she's probably ever seen. She's got 55 kilos, Blake Shin, she got 54, but Blake Shin will ride at 55. 104 handicap rating up against these horses. Most of them are 77 raters or below. I don't see, if she doesn't win this, she'll never win a race again. So she's on top. I think the price is worth a bet. She's just a bet. If she doesn't win,
Didn't we say this about the Chelmsford before Buckaroo was Buckaroo?
Yeah,
wasn't this the narrative in the Chelmsford where we go, if she doesn't win this, she'll never win another race again, and then Buckaroo came out and decided
Buckaroo to a nose there.
How is
she 350 here?
He decided it was the horse. Yeah,
that's right. That's incredible form. I don't know what happened in the 7th stakes, but that's not uncommon for Waller to put in a flat one. Shin, lose nothing with Shin on, drops in weight. Just a bet for me.
Sadly, I have to agree.
You guys are sickos.
She's got 4 of the top 6 ratings of any of these horses in the last 6 runs. Now, that should qualify to be close to even money. We're getting $3.90. So I'm very upset about it, but she is a bet for me.
She got beaten a length in a Doncaster. You can imagine Tulsi coming off a Class 1 at Canberra running 5th in a Doncaster?
I think it's this. There's no doubt she'll run a place, but it's just whether she gets across the line first. That's what she struggles to do.
All you blokes are doing are making a case for her through her losses.
Yeah,
but that's what we do with every horse.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
because we back horses that have won.
She's still trying. She's not throwing in the towel.
All
she
right.
tried in the Chelmsford. I think she wins.
Let's move on.
I think it's a great price, over $3.
Okay, race 5.
She doesn't win, Nick. Just a losing bet.
Race 5, the KOSCIUZZKO, 1,200 metres. It's a $2 million race. What mountain are we climbing here?
Front page, best horse,
Yep.
best jockey, best trial, wins. Yep, Barry 5. First up last campaign, ran Sunshine in Paris to a neck. I think Front Page is the best horse, and I think he'll win again with J-Mac on from Barry 5. No excuses.
Corowa Bullet. That's Front Page from Corowa, I think. Yeah.
Trained at Goulburn. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think originally.
I have the same opinion as Tom here. I think Matty Dale just does such a good job of getting this horse up for this race every year. Rates over 2 lengths clear each year on any other run that he produces. Yet continues to do it and looks as if trial well enough to suggest he's going just every bit as every other year. So I think we'll be winning.
Overpass is in the mix for a Sydney Stakes over 1,200, and he trialled every bit as good as Overpass.
Yep. I'm following you in. Front Page, bang. It's a triple threat in the KOSCIUSZKO. The
Jeez,
three peaks.
that's very rare.
The 3 peaks right there.
We never agree.
Speaking of mountains.
Run the double, hinged into him.
I won't be doing that.
Yeah, place multi, mate.
Okay.
That's to boost your price. Race 7, boys. It's the Group 1, the Everest.
Oh.
1,200 metres. Think about it. Won the race last year. Giga Kick in 2022. A Nature Strip or Stripe in 2021, depending which hemisphere you're from. How are we playing the Everest? It feels like the most even Everest. The market certainly suggests that we've had.
I'm a bit filthy here because, like the Caulfield Cup, I think they're better betting races. I know it's an Everest and now it's a Group 1. Just bring the map up here. I think we got a graphic for it, but I've got Stormboy leading. What happens with Lady of Camelot is the big question. I'll ask your opinion.
What happens with Stormboy getting away cleanly is the big question.
So there's so many question marks. Growing Empire could lead if Stormboy's half length slow. You've got IME kicking up from barrier 1. Private Eye, they've said, wants to be ridden more positively. Draws wide. Yeah. That scares me, drawn wide for him. He obviously ran a great race in this race last year. You've got Jolie Star, who's the map horse. Map's absolutely perfect. I reckon J-Mac will just lob 1-1 with the horses working around like Private Eye and Lady of Camelot, depending what they do. Traffic Warden, barrier scares me a little bit. Might be throw back the fence, give him a good chance. You've got Kiki Kick midfield. Then you've got a couple of the older brigade in I Wish I Win. Bell and Patina, I think, will be back last. So first I'll get your opinion on the map. Lady of Camelot, there's been words about her going back potentially. Liam, what are your thoughts with Lady of Camelot there?
No, I assume she'll go forward.
I think she goes forward. But I don't know if she can run out a strong 1,200 metres leading or working early.
I don't think she can win if she goes back. That's the thing.
No. I don't think she can win if she gets caught wide and runs on, but she can run top 8.
Can I make a case for Lady of Camelot? She's $55 on Betfair, and I'm going to have something small.
I'm going to lay her.
I'm going to have something small on her. You're an idiot.
I'll take your money. I'll give you 52.
$52. Done. All right. We'll fix it up. We'll fix it up in your car spot out front after the show.
You're not allowed into any of that.
No, I want to make a case for her because I think she's a genuine 1,200 metre
horse.
Do you? Yeah. So 1,000 metres, more than she was too sharp for her, and she came again through the line in the Moya. She didn't have race conditions to suit in the shorts over 1,100 metres. She got trapped wide and was doing a little bit. I just can't have her going around at $55 in what appears to be such an even race. When you're throwing up other horses, I know 2-year-old or 3-year-old careers are very vastly different, but I can't be throwing around these other winning chances when she hasn't put too much of a foot wrong this campaign, when probably this has likely been the target the whole way through, and it's her first time to 1,200 metres. So I'm making somewhat of a case for Lady of Camelot, and if you want to call me pure mad, it's $55. So go nuts, do your best. But I'll also have something on Growing Empire as well in the race. So it's got a 3-year-old feel about it, doesn't it? And when you elect to go to the Everest it's not over the stallion making race, the Coolmore, it's still perhaps on the cards, but you run the risk of losing the ability to go and get a click and collect in a stallion making race, which is the Coolmore, which is exactly that. It says plenty about the placement. So tactical speed, he'll lob in the first 4 or 5. Kieran McAvoy going for his 4th Everest.
No, you go. I'll give you my narrative in a minute.
I think it is those new horses on the scene as such. I look through the peak ratings of these, and you imagine you're getting to an Everest. You want your horse to be peaking and running their absolute best. And Jolie Star's Show County Demolition first up was the highest peak rating in this race. She was eased down, and she's going to get a plum run. So I think deserved favourite there. The ones that I'm going to be keen to playing at the early odds, Sunshine in Paris, whose Scirocco win was right up there, less than half a length off Jolie Star. And Steffi Magnetica ran a really cheeky race behind IME, finishing off late. I think that early pace is going to set up perfectly for Steffi. So at $16, I'll be having something on her and Sunshine in Paris at the $11 early. And I'm really keen to take on I Wish I Win here. I'll be laying him the win and the place. Getting back. That is the hamburger. Get the graphic up. I'm sure we've got it there waiting in the wings. But I just think it's time for a bit of the changing of the guard of these sprinters, and I'm keen to take I Wish I Win on.
We have gone at this from all angles here, Tommy.
I like it. I'm interested. Your tip on Steffi could be in a world of pain if Stormboy doesn't jump and they go back on Lady Camelot, and then suddenly the speed comes out of the race, which is going to be interesting as well. So I'm sick of finding good runs in an Everest and not winning. I backed second and third last year, and they were the better runs than the winner. What are you laughing at?
This is just a little bit silky so far, isn't it?
No, so
I'm so good but unlucky.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
I'm just the best running race and the best map wins an Everest because they're generally pretty even. I'm penning a few off the map. That's how I'm attacking the race. I'm penning I Wish I Win. Backmarker, I'm penning Bella Nipotina, Steffi Magnetica.
Would you prefer 9 for I Wish I Win than
still has to go back to last, so penning it. Traffic Warden I wanted to be with, concerned about the barrier. Private Eye, penning. Lady Camelot, penning off the barrier.
What lanes are in play, Tommy? Come race
you
7.
You penned off the barrier 9, and then you penned Traffic Warden barrier 2.
I'm petrified of I Wish I Win.
The map. Yeah, but you have an opinion. Yeah. I'm having an opinion. I can't find them all. I'm leaning the way of you guys. I think Jolie Star maps perfectly. She is a map horse. Perfect, fresh blood.
Also, we've seen quite a few instances of Wallace second up, coming off that massive first 100%. Up performance and getting back to third up and running through the wall again.
Sunshine in Paris settled ahead of her last start. I don't think that'll happen now with the barriers. So I think Jolie Star in the mix. Growing Empire's the other one. They're my two plays. They both map perfectly. They'll be in the first half of the field. They're both drawn well. Won't have too much traffic issues from there. I think they'll be in the running line, which is good. Whereas Traffic Warden I kind of wanted to find as well, but concerned he'll need luck. And the fence isn't generally the place to be at Randwick Rail True, so that's a little concern. So yeah, Jolie Star and Growing Empire. Stormboy scares me. Sunshine in Paris scares me.
I look at this race.
What?
And look, I know I've had a couple of bets.
I've just got 2 on top with a couple that have.
No, I look at this race and I know I've had a couple of bets. This is a race where I cannot pen a single runner.
You've got to come. Yeah, I know. That's why I found.
That's why I'm not obviously staking. I'm just having a small stake as an interest in my 2 runners, which is Growing Empire and Lady of Camelot at a huge price. And she's obviously the outside of the field. So if I'm taking her, I'm not penning anyone in this. It's a cracking edition of the Everest, lacking the genuine bona fide proven star power at the moment, but we've got a few on the up. So good discussion.
Everyone's saying it's the weakest Everest, but this is the best sprinters we've got at the moment.
No,
they are the best.
I love it as a competitive spectacle.
I think they're better betting races. Like I said with the Caulfield Cup, I think you got the 2 feature races in Sydney and Melbourne that, in my opinion, aren't the best betting races.
You'll be at Newcastle, no doubt.
If there's a winner that pays the same, I'd watch Sky Shui while the Everest is running.
What's a good betting race for you?
One I can find a winner. I found these 2 very hard races. That's all.
Hey, let's move on, boys.
You can't pin a runner.
Yeah,
but I would say good betting races. Many chances that you can find winners at big prices. That's my definition of a good.
Yeah, it's all about confidence. I'd rather have a $3 favourite and a $4 second favourite than I'm putting the lines through the second favourite. So I just can't pen too many.
Let's take a look at the race number 8, the Group 3 Silver Eagle for the 4-year-olds. Set weights and penalties, 1,300 metres. Last year's edition was won by Vienna Princess from Straight Asa and Pericles. Clancey, how are you attacking this one? Have you had your tyres let down with a little bit of late news?
If Skybird gets scratched from here and goes to Melbourne, I'll be very flat because I think this race sets up perfectly for her. Bases Loaded is one that I'm going to give another chance to. We're back out to $24 here. This horse didn't go as well when he let a more victorious lead him last start, and then gets back to 1,300 where he was really strong first up and out to lead. So I think I think he'll be able to do that again. But Skybird is so well placed for this, in really terrific form. Ran so well in that Bobby Lewis, and then again in the Blazer behind Revolutionary Miss, where the barrier dictated that get right back to last again. Finally draws a gate and goes on the wet, dry. Doesn't matter what sort of track presents here, and we're getting double figures to find out. I think they're a terrific double play, Skybird and bases loaded. I just hope they come here instead of going to Melbourne.
Tommy, do you have an opinion in the race?
No, very little opinion in the race. Like V8 has a class to win it, but was very plain first up. Stretton Angel, first time Sydney direction. She's got the class to win it, but that concerns me a little bit. I like Tristarc and Moravia as horses, but granted they have to improve again off what they've been doing to run well. Skybird scares me again. Sydney direction backmarker with Bo Mertens, who's engaged in Melbourne as well. Too much going on.
Yep, I'm having a 1x3 Stretton Angel, 1300 metre. I think looks her sweet spot at this stage of her preparation, particularly. Too far back in the Gill Guy, clocked the fastest last 200 metres of the race, 7th fastest of the day there at Flemington. Looks well drawn to sit off the speed, savage the line. She's been one of mine for some time, Stretton Angel, so I'm going to stick with her in the Silver Eagle. Let's move on to the last Group 1 that will feature, which is race 9, the Group 1 King Charles III Stakes, weight for age 1600 metres. Fair on a roll here, boys. Fangirl last year, Animo 2022, and Very Elegant 2021. This is box office viewing, because any race that has Pride of Jenny engaged is box office viewing. Who catches her, if anyone? Clance?
Well, I think if the track stays dry, I think no one. If the track gets a little bit wet, then I will start to look a bit wider and think they've got a chance of catching her. Major Beale will push forward, and then Pride of Jenny obviously goes in front of her. So is there a bit of donkey work to be done from Major Beale? That's to be determined. But I'm not having a bet as we sit here on Thursday. But if it's nice and bone dry, I'll be one of the ones cheering for Jenny at the front and hoping she can hold on.
This is obviously a great race, Pride of Jenny in it. There's more chases here than she's probably faced in recent starts, which is interesting, even when she won the feature race by 10 lengths in Randwick last time. But like Major Bill can chase, Pericles can chase, Zoo Gotcha, no jockey booked now, but could Zoo Gotcha just do the donkey work and cart Fangirl into the race? A bit of team, I don't want to say it.
No, I've got these exact notes marked on mine. I was like, is Zoo Gotcha the conduit?
Correct.
Yeah.
So team riding's not allowed, but they could do that. There are more chases here, which scares me a little bit. I've got Pride of Jenny on top. Tom Kitten, I don't think should be twice the price of Sir Wolf. So maybe a bit of value, but he'll be back and chasing. So yeah.
Major Bill might be the one too. It's just who's dragging the field to Pride of Jenny, which we didn't get in the Queen Elizabeth, and they were all napping, and there are a few more here. But good luck. I want to be with her.
Yep.
Like, I want to throw every bit of data and form out the window, and I just want to back. Well, I don't care about it. I just want to back her, purest racing fan,
and cheer her on.
Don't even care. Like $1.90, $2, don't care. I'm just backing her because she's just great for racing, and I love watching her. So that is some betting advice that you'll never usually get on Betfair. That is not the mantra here at Betfair.
I don't care about anything.
She's a once in a generation type horse that comes around, and I want to be with her because she's plenty of fun. So that's how I'll be playing the King Charles, and sounds like Tommy as well, but he sort of sold it in a more matter-of-fact way than me. Boys, let's get to the lay streak, which I'm absolutely humming along in just quietly. $520. Tommy's on 319, and he's later runner that's been scratched already. King Clancey, $282. Who are you laying?
Wish I win in the Everest. No, the win.
Okay.
Just the win. There's plenty of winning chances, so I'm happy to take on the equal fave.
Tommy?
You read yours because mine's scratched, so I don't know where I'm going here.
Yeah, I'm laying Estriella in the Millennium Sprint, so race 7 at Caulfield, number 1, Estriella. I'm laying her to win. She, going into this prep, should easily be, I think, the best horse in the race, but she's off her A game at the moment, and barrier 1, I feel, will be a disadvantage come that part of the day.
I don't disagree with you there. Yeah, I would be keen to lay Estriella. Gosh, I've got no idea here. I'll have to get back to I've got no idea. Mine's just scratched. I might lay it in Sydney. Why not?
There'll be a watch list.
The wheels are off.
There'll be a watch list.
The
Yeah,
wheels
I'll
are
buy
off
one.
on this show. Hey, let's go to our best backs. Clance, who's your best bet for this Everest Caulfield Cup day?
Well, if Skybird ends up in the Silver Eagle, that each way play would be the best bet of mine for the day.
Wow.
Scratching that, Miss Aria in the Tristarc race 8 Caulfield. Don't think we'll be missing a drum there. So back her each way.
Do you need a minute?
No, Randwick, race 4, number 5, hinged.
Oh my god.
Race 5, number 3, front paged. And race 10, number 1, pinstripe at Melbourne.
My best bet for the day, you're getting the cash nice and early. Caulfield race 2, number 7, Gallant Son. I think he's going to be a very good horse.
Come on, lovely cut. Come on, Reese.
Yeah, sorry, Reese. Not sorry. Hey, been a lot of fun today. That is as much racing as we have dissected on this program in a long, long time.
And I haven't delivered much, to be fair.
Well, it's a
fence
tough
all
day, and I don't know
Very
if
tough day.
I don't know if it's excitement getting me over the line here, but I found a few. Clance has found a few.
Did I mention Pride of Jenny in my best? Sure, go in.
She'll go in. Pride of Jenny and the bests. You guys on course Saturday?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Where you'd rather be.
We might have to have a layback catch up.
You'll be in a
little
marquee
half-time
somewhere,
break.
mate. We won't be able to get in.
If you can make your way into the wristband section, I'll catch up with you and say good day. All the best across the course of the weekend. I'll see you afterwards, perhaps anyway. Get a booth or something. You're on layback with Betfair. We'll be back next week. What have we got next week? These days is Cox Plate.
Cox
Day.
Plate, my birthday weekend.
It's Tom's birthday,
Oh.
which it comes ahead of Cox Plate. We'll be back then.
It's on
been a
Cox
lot of
Plate
fun here on Layback with Betfair. Have a good weekend.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.